Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Travel and Tourism Podcast, my first season. My guest today and I have never met, but we do have 52 mutual friends, so Facebook tells me. My honored guest is also a graduate gemologist, and yes, I have to know what that is all about. He worked for Club Med from 1988 to 1991, and his first season was in St. Lucia in 1988 as a carpenter. First carpenter on the show. Shout out. Woo! He met his future wife, which was her first season in Playa Blanca in 1990, and I'm happily to say they just celebrated their 30-year anniversary. From Potomac, Maryland, please help me welcome the one, the only, Lee Siegel. Hey, Lee, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Greg. How are you doing? And thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on and agreeing to share your story. I do believe you are the first carpenter we've had on, so this is going to be awesome.
I feel honored to be the first carpenter, although I did not end my season that way. But
That's right. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Looks like you spent some time at the bar there, Lee. Okay.
correct.
Well, are you ready to light this fire, as the kids say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Okay. So we know St. Lucia 88. So what were you doing before Club Med, and like how did you find out about Club Med?
That's an interesting story. I was working at several different businesses per se. I was construction, mostly working all over Southern California, building houses with a couple of my buddies and his brother-in-law, who was
Now, can I just ask one question? So
sure.
it seems like you're one of those annoying guys that knows how to do everything. Okay, from carpentry to electrical. So how did you learn all this? Did you learn this when you were really young? How to build houses?
Well, growing up as with a single mother and having to really do things myself when it's funny because my wife says if something breaks, I fix it, and if something breaks, she buys a new one. So the hard knocks growing up. Had to do things myself, fix things. Just got into building things. Always like to take apart things, work on cars, radios, just all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I know a little bit about everything, as they say, master of none, but know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, and you didn't have YouTube videos to watch back then. You're all self-taught, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So you're building houses in Southern California. Is it this point that someone told you about Club Med?
Well, I was building houses, working all week, and at night I was a bouncer at a bar slash nightclub, which
Really?
we used to frequent after happy hours with the construction crew. And we got to meet the waiters and waitresses and the managers there because we were there quite a bit. And they were starting to open up it was Bennigan's in Westminster, California. It was the first Bennigan's to have a nightclub. So fast forwarding, started
Well,
talking to the, go ahead.
Well, wait, Lee, can I? Yeah, because you just dropped. You're also the first bouncer on the show. Now, I've seen Roadhouse a million times. So, is there any like? Could someone as small as Patrick Swayze ever be the cooler? I like, or is that like some fantasy there? Like, because I've seen photos of you. You're a pretty big guy, right? So, I don't think many people would want to mess with you. But
Yeah.
have you ever seen anyone really that short and skinny like be a bouncer?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's in your head, it's the mentality that you have. And I guess I could back out and say bouncer slash doorman. I
Okay,
keep an eye on the place at night,
okay.
and made sure everything was running the way it should run. And so fast forwarding, speaking to one of the managers there when they were opening up this nightclub, I said, you probably need a quote bouncer doorman. He said, as a matter of fact, we do. And so I was the first bouncer doorman at Bennigan's. And that's where I met two of my friends, former XGOs, Jeff Avinetti, aka Avo. He was the disc jockey for Bennigan's, and Jeff Evans, aka Evans, he was the bartender. And we formed a really close bond. And Avo went to Turks just on a whim by himself. And he came back and he said, oh my God, we need to work for this company. And he told me all about it. I never heard of Club Med before or anything. Fast forwarding a little bit again, he went back, I believe, a month or two later. He had such a great time. And he came back and he just relayed to us again, we have to work for this company. and they happened to be doing interviews in Los Angeles, and we were in Orange County. And I went for my interview, and I didn't hear anything. Avo and Evans both got their first season. Avo went to Martinique, I believe, and Evans went to, which was St. George Club in Bermuda.
That's right. Yeah.
Was it St. George?
Yeah. Yeah. That was open then. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went there, and I am like, what the heck? I didn't get a call or anything. And
Well,
finally,
did you? Well, sorry. During your interview, did you tell them like did you tell them all your skills, or were you applying for a specific job, or you would have been happy to take anything?
I would have taken anything, but yeah, as thinking back, you had to put down a few of your services of what you were looking to do, and I said set design slash carpenter, and the French fella, I forget his name, of course, interviewed me, and it was about, I think, maybe a month later. I was working at my mom's house with my brother doing some landscaping for her, and they got no cell phones. I got a phone call, and it was a very thick French accent. And I'm not going to try to impersonate a French accent. I don't do that. Basically said St. Lucia next week, and I'm like, I was like not in shock, but I hadn't even heard of St. Lucia. I totally forgot about Club Med and the interview. It just was not on my radar. And I said, he gave me a few details. And I just remember I flashed through my head. I said, okay, I have a few more payments on my truck. I didn't have a steady girlfriend at the time. I can sublet my condo that I was living in. And I put the phone back to my head and I said, okay. And I think in a few days, it was in a few days, I got something in the mail with my plane tickets and everything. And my mom because I was going to leave for 6 months. My mom had a big party for me, farewell party, and everybody came over, and we went to the airport that Saturday or Sunday, and I realized that my tickets were for the next Saturday or Sunday. So we came back from the airport and had another week to.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you screwed up, or you got your departure date wrong? Like you just you were so excited that you went a week early to the airport?
Yes, I am saying I screwed up. I read my
Okay.
departure date wrong.
Okay. Now I've flown, like I've been to I worked at St. Lucia, so I've flown from the East Coast, and I found that a horrendous flight, and all the time to get. So do you recall leaving from the West Coast, like your itinerary? Did
Oh,
you fly?
I remember.
Oh, please give it to me. What was it?
Yep. LAX to Dallas to Puerto Rico to Antigua, which was my very first taste of the Caribbean.
Puerto Rico. They stopped you over in Antigua.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
okay, and after Antigua,
Antigua, I have to tell this little quick story about
yeah.
Antigua. When we landed in Antigua, of course, it was a short layover, so they didn't want you to get off the plane. And you know how the Caribbean airports are; they're really small. And I remember a flight attendant coming through with bug spray, spraying, like sanitizing the inside of the plane so no bugs got in. And I asked her how long. She said, oh, about 40 minutes. And I said, can I get off the plane? She said, sure. And I remember walking off the plane, and there's a little circular bar right by the tarmac, I guess. And I sat at the bar, and that's where I had my very first Red Stripe beer, ice cold Jamaican beer. And that was like the start of my whole Caribbean life. This is the beer bottle is a different shape. It's delicious. There's beautiful women around. There's palm trees, and then got back on the plane and off I went.
Wait a sec. Are you saying they were spraying for bugs like while everyone was seated in the plane?
Oh yeah.
My God, talk about the
Yeah.
80s. Okay, I've never heard of that. I've never heard or seen that before. Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess they stopped doing that at one point.
I'm sure, but she would take the can and hold it up high and just walk down the aisle, just one continuous spray.
Okay,
And
while people were still smoking, no doubt. Okay,
exactly. Good old days.
Now, do you recall like how many hours this whole trip took you? You must have been exhausted when you arrived, right?
Oh, I don't know. I know I left in the morning in LAX, and I by some miracle I did get to St. Lucia in the same day.
Okay, But in the evening, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Was the chief of village at your arrival? Do you recall who the chief was?
Oh, I don't. I came between, not really between seasons, but just when the season had started already, and I was maintenance, so it didn't matter. I wasn't like part of the geo team, although I was probably the very first maintenance carpenter for sure that was part of the geo team. But I remember somebody meeting me, getting my bags, taking me to my bungalow, and I woke up in the morning and I had no idea who to talk to. It was very French back then. I was one of the very few American GOs, and nobody spoke English to me at first. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And I found out. I went to the maintenance area and talked to Jean, a very small little French guy. I forget his last name. And basically introduced me to everybody. There was one other American named Jim. He was an electrician, but he was leaving. And I got introduced to my partner, Swebert Lawrence. He's a St. Lucian. He was speaking patois to me. I had no idea what he was saying. We became great friends, and he showed me everything I needed to know about the maintenance area. And then I got pretty much very quickly entrenched into the geo life.
Now, was this shortly? Because I know St. Lucia must have opened around that time, or was it just recently renovated? Do you recall? Like, were you there at the opening, or no? This was just.
Well, it was semi renovated. When I was there for, again, the dates are just a
Mhm.
blur, but I was there for, I think, 2 or 3 months, and the season had closed. Then I stayed in St. Lucia for over a month by myself. And at that time, I put in all the safes that were in the rooms. You remember the old safes with the big heavy lock you drop in and turn the
Yeah.
key? Well, I installed all of those safes in all the rooms in St. Lucia. I built the outside stage that had that green and white lattice work around the
Oh, really?
chandelier.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Wow.
The railing by the St. Lucia Market and the sign that says St. Lucia Market, I built that. And we did a lot of work on the windsurf shack. We would take bamboo and split it down halfway in the middle and break it apart. And that was like the siding per se for the windsurf shack. We redid the tennis courts. But as far as remodeling, that was all that we really did. And that month went by very, very quickly. I would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then basically just go back to my bungalow and sleep.
Now, if you were there like for a month without GMs, were you still required to work 7 days a week?
We did what we had to do. We had a time frame to do these certain projects. I'll have to shout out to one of a,
Sure.
a GO. I remember I was there for about, must have been 3 weeks, and hadn't seen any Americans or any other GOs. Just a lot of the locals were there who were fantastic. St. Lucia, the locals and the PS and fantastic. But I remember riding my bike through the center, coming through you were there, right, Greg? You said you were there.
Yes.
So coming through the reception down the hall past the boutique into where the pool area is, I remember riding my bike and I saw a glimpse of this white skinned woman with long, dark, curly hair. And I'm like, I immediately turned quite around and just introduced myself. And it was Veronique, who jumped on my handlebars, and I gave her a whole tour of the village. And she helped me put in all the safes. She would line up the holes for me while I drilled. And she was, I think she must have been a hostess. I can't remember what she did, but she was one of the first GOs to arrive. And shortly after others started to arrive, I was like king because I had been there so long. Most people that were coming were first season GOs and first time to St. Lucia. So I knew where I was like the Rand McNally. I was the information guy. I knew everything about the village. And that's how I got entrenched so much in the geo experience being in the maintenance because I was like the go-to guy.
Are you saying a hostess helped you install the safes?
I believe she was a hostess. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
Now, when the village opened, were you doing 7 days a week, and was that hard for you?
Yeah, it wasn't hard, it's enjoyable. I would wake up and I wore these, I remember very clearly, I wear these long, I was styling back then with the long shorts, not the short shorts, but the long shorts. They were blue, elastic waist, and I would carry I made a toolbox, like a carpenter box that said USA on the side of it. And basically, I would wake up, have breakfast, I'd walk and hang over by the hostess desk. And when all the reclamations came in to fix this, to fix that, that was me. And I would just have my bike and my little toolbox, and I just run around or bike around the whole village fixing things, and no shirt on. I had a super tan, just loving life back there. I had, as no wallet, no keys, no nothing, just my toolbox and my bike.
So you
And
didn't have a you didn't have a white T-shirt with a cigarette pack rolled into it like
no,
Schneider. You just
no,
went
no,
shirtless and okay, I'm here to fix whatever. Okay,
no.
did you have to fix any? Were there any weird requests to fix anything? I don't know.
Well, there was a few, and I was very proactive because I'd hang out by the bar. We can get into that in a minute. And I'd hang out by the bar, and the hostess desk were very close in St. Lucia at the time. So when a reclamation would come in, I would go right back with the GM and show me your room. Let's go. They didn't have to wait. So there was one week that I did that for a GM. I went up there. Her shower door was like off the hinge or something like that, or the switch when you close the sliding glass door, it turns the air conditioner on and off, wasn't working. And so I fixed one of those things for her, and I did that, and I went to have lunch, and I came back, and there was like five more reclamations. I think they called reclamations back in the day. They at the hostess desk for the same room. So this one GM obviously was trying to get my attention, and I got to the point where I made sure she was like by the pool because I could visually see her, and I'd go up to her room and fix her stuff because she was getting, could have got kind of weird.
Are you saying she was intentionally breaking things just to talk to
I
you?
it kind of seemed that way,
Okay, okay.
but
All right. Okay. I always wondered if that happened. Okay. Now let's do a funny story break. 'Cause I'd like to hear your New Year's Eve story about the fireworks. I mean, hit all the finer points, but looks like it's a pretty funny story. If you wouldn't mind.
sure. And it's funny because every Fourth of July, I replay this in my head.
Okay.
We had a choreographed fireworks display set up in the sand over by shooting over the circus area, and they brought in some really big professional fireworks. We had a PVC pipe that was buried into the sand, like 4 inch for these bombs or explosions, whatever. And it was all choreographed where each of us had a number, and there must have been about 10 of us doing this. We all had these, like, we call them punks or like a sparkler or whatever, something that would stay lit all the time. And the person choreographing it would say, okay, number 4, go. Number 5, go. It was sequenced with different colors and whatever. And as we started doing this, the first few minutes were really nice. And we just got a squall that came in, and the wind started just pushing these fireworks up and over, and they were landing back on us. And my pants, my white pants, my only pair of white pants, had burn holes all through them. My shirt was all burned up. And we kind of looked at each other and just said, screw it. And we just lit them all, just right down the line. And they were just going off crazy. After said and done, the trapeze net caught on fire a little bit, which we put out very quickly because that was like a main thing of the circus there. A lot of the mats that you land on, they had burn holes all through them. The grass had caught on fire. It,
Okay.
it was it was something else. And the funny part about it, the GMs thought it was fantastic. They had no idea that anything was wrong, and we were going crazy on the beach there. Not really a beach, but where this rocks in the sand where we dug like a trench to shoot these fireworks off, and it was total mayhem. But the GMs were applauding and loving it, and we all burnt holes in our pants and everything. Just kind of got introduced as shooting off the fireworks. So that was a good one.
Yeah, they thought this was part of the show, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Starting around your second season in St. Lucia, yeah, 88, 89, you move into, is that when you start moving into set design?
Yeah, I was still doing all the carpentry stuff, and I
Yeah,
started helping. I built there was a boxing rink that was used in the shows for a boxing match,
there was. Do you
and
remember what show had a boxing ring in it?
it was just it was a boxing show.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
like a
Oh,
it was like the precursor to the wrestling now, I guess.
okay. Wow. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it should have been there. I mean, I was there. I don't know if they took it away or whatever, but we built that, and I did a lot of the shows, believe it or not, not a lot.
Were you doing the dancing or their comedy numbers?
The well, I'm really dancing. We did a Billy Idol White Wedding with Sean Gleeden. I don't know if you know these names or not. He was Billy Idol, perfect guy for Billy Idol. Linda Taylor was the white wedding girl in a dress, and I was the guy on the guitar. And I did Bridget the Midget with Luis, was a small little super fit guy, but it was like frickin' frack, me and him. And so I did Bridget the Midget. I did Carmen, the one my and we I hope we get into this. My best friend from Club Med is Terry Drummy. We did 4 seasons together. He was Carmen on top of my shoulders, dancing around on the stage.
Was Terry a bar or chief of bar in St. Lucia when
Terry
you?
Terry was Bar,
Okay. All right.
and you
Yeah.
can and Terry. We all know about Terry, how he climbed up the ladder, and I'm proud to say that I'm kind of a part of that. 4 seasons together. I talk to Terry all the time. We're very, very, very close friends. And that's just one of the byproducts of Club Med.
Now, did you follow? Did you follow Terry to? Because I see you leave the Caribbean, and for some reason you go to the snow. You go to Copper Mountain in 89, 90, where you were bar chief of bar. So now, at what point did you say, "Well, I'd like to try bar"?
Well, I left St. Lucia and I went to Tennessee to help my friend's dad build a house. So, and I again, no cell phones, and I stayed in touch with Terry, and I heard he was going to Copper Mountain, and I called Rod Frankel, who was the human resources in Scottsdale, who happened to be our interim chief of village in St. Lucia. So we all became very, very good friends. And I called up Scottsdale and told Rod I heard Terry's going to Copper Mountain. He said yes, he's going to be a bartender. And I said I want to go. And he says, well, who are you to think you can just go? I said, come on, Rod. Long story short, I went to Copper Mountain as a bartender. Never bartended before, but and I remember the first day the GM the bar we opened up the bar and the GMs came up and I'm a little nervous. And the first GM said, "Can we get 2 Coors Lights?" I'm like, well, "I can do that." And I just like not to tip my own shoulder or anything like that, but I pick up things very quickly. I just started flinging drinks like crazy and just natural for me. So then I did the season in Copper, and Terry had left Copper. I don't think he did his stage, but they needed him somewhere. They had him. They already had him pinned for chief of bar and all his other positions. And so I kind of became the interim chief of bar at Copper Mountain for a while. And can't remember if Terry came back or not. And
Well, that's pretty good. You went from bar to interim chief of bar in the span of one season, right?
yeah,
Now, were you being a Southern California boy? Were you excited about being in the snow, or you didn't care because you're mostly inside all day?
oh no, I Southern California. We go skiing every winter up to Mammoth and Big Bear, and
Okay,
I skied. Yeah, I totally skied. So I was pumped about that.
okay. Who was your who do you recall who the chief of village was at Copper Mountain in 89, 90?
Yeah, I'm not good with the accents or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, it's okay.
Christian
Oh
Maye,
yeah, oh
and I
yeah,
think
okay.
his wife was Monica, and they had the little baby with them, little boy, I think. But Christian, he was a great chef de village.
Any any memorable things happened to you in Copper? I mean, I do have you did tell me about one story. I'm curious. Like I do not know what a scorpion bowl is, so maybe if you can
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me the story that goes well, describe what a scorpion bowl is. I've never heard that term, and the story that goes along with it.
Well, a scorpion bowl can be a few things, but it's normally in a Asian themed restaurant. It's a bowl that has like a volcano type center to it.
Is this a
Uh,
drink or food? Is this a drink or
oh,
food?
oh, it's a drink, and it
Okay.
comes with about 5 straws, and it's got every type of rum in it and every other concoction you can imagine.
Really? So you're talking there's like maybe five different things of alcohol in it?
Oh yeah, yeah, and
It sounds strong. Is it
oh
strong?
yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
what
All
what
right.
you do back in the day with a scorpion bowl, if there's four of you, three of you, five of you, you all have a straw. You put your straw in there, and they're the big straws too. They're not like a little wimpy straw, and you all go stick your straw in there, and you just start to suck. You just suck that
It
whole
sounds
time.
like one of these is enough. Like you're good to go for the
Oh
night.
yeah,
Am I right? Okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was
Uh,
that was after we went to O'Shea's, which is a little nightclub, little bar down in a basement of one of the hotels there, and we listened to some live music and get fired up there first, and then go have our scorpion bowl.
Now, was it your idea to play broom hockey in the center of the village that one night, or someone else?
A lot of things that we do in the villages, we hear from the village the season before. Oh, you got to
Okay.
do this, you got to do that. So I'm not sure if it was my idea or just a thing to do, but yeah, we would, you know, at least one or sometimes two scorpion bowls. We would get on the ice there in the little center of the village in our sneakers and jeans and get brooms and get some sort of ball or a bottle or something and just think we're hockey players. And we would get just bumped up and bruised. And I remember waking up the next morning, sometimes when the ski patrol would pound on our doors to do a powder run. I'm like, no, not today. Just so bruised and bumped up from snow
Now,
bangs.
what do you mean? Like the ski patrol wanted you to test the slopes? Is that what they mean by powder run?
Yeah, they would take us up in the crack of dawn and up in their snowcats, and they take us up to the top of the runs there, and we'd ski down in the fresh snow, and we'd ski down to the next lift line, and we'd have to basically turn sideways on our skis and just pack down the snow lines because so people wouldn't trip and everything like that, and then we get to ski down to the next one. So we used to call it a snow patrol powder run.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun when you're hungover, I'm guessing, right? Okay.
No, no,
Okay. Got it. Well, I guess it's a good way to sober up quick if it's cold out. Okay.
true.
I see you work next in a village which is a favorite of many, many people, Eleuthera, and you're with the one, the only Mike Coltman, chief of village, correct?
Right, right.
And this was 80, I guess, 89 that you were in Eleuthera, or 80 or 90, 89, 90 still? Because I know
No,
from
I
Copper
don't,
you
I
go to
don't,
Eleuthera.
I don't
Okay.
remember. It was,
Okay.
it was a
But Mike Coltman was there, right?
Mike Coltman was there, and Denny Amsalam came in to cover.
Oh, Denny
That
Amsalem.
was
Yes.
that was that
Favorite
changeover season, and I was there.
one of my favorite chiefs, Denny Amsalem. Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right. So is Eleuthera as beautiful as everyone says?
Oh yeah, it is, and I'm very excited. We're going back next month for
Really?
a big group of us, about 15 of us going.
All
Yeah,
XGOs
all XGOs and friends and family of XGOs.
to Eleuthera?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay,
yeah,
that's nice.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's
very very
great.
excited.
Now, so Eleuthera, you're back into the Caribbean there. You must be happy after a season in the snow.
Yeah, I think I belong in the Caribbean. The
Yeah,
Caribbean, I want to
we
say,
all do, Lee. We all do. Okay.
yeah, it's in my blood, and it must have been in my blood before Club Med.
And you were doing
Uh,
a bar there?
I was doing bar.
Is Terry back with you?
Yeah, Terry was back with me. See, I can't remember if Terry came back to Copper Mountain after he left or not, but we went to Eleuthera, and Terry was chief of bar.
I'm guessing by then you're a pretty good beverage concoctionist now, right?
Oh yeah,
Fancy word for
yeah, I
what
had
was
a
your?
fan.
Did you have a go-to drink? Did you have like one that you were good at making?
Most of the GMs would come, especially the Caribbean, and do the Goombay Smash and the typical drinks. And I actually won the best Goombay Smash in the Luther down in Governor's Harbor when I was there. So I was kind of proud about that. I beat a couple of Bohemians in their drink. Uh,
Okay. Did you have to do any flair stuff like in the movie Cocktail, or this was
no,
just a straight whatever drink tastes the better wins? That's what it was.
yeah.
Okay.
I think people come to a bar to drink, not to watch. So
Okay.
yeah,
So again, the movies Tom Cruise and Cocktail. That's not really what really happens, right? Sorry.
well, not by me for sure.
Okay. All right. I do want to jump to Playa because Playa is one of my favorite villages, and this is where we said in the opening you met your wife in Playa, and I think
Yes.
that's a pretty good story. So if you wouldn't mind telling us, like when you first saw her, and then what, because I think you guys agree or disagree about her AC unit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't
Yeah.
mind, I guess I don't know how long after you arrived that you saw her.
I arrived in Playa.
This is 1991, I believe, correct?
Yeah, 90 November of 1990.
Okay.
And I was there again. The village had been closed prior, so we had to get everything ready for the GMs coming. And for some reason, again, I was one of the first GOs to arrive. Got to the bar and got the bar all set up, and then I remember Lisa showing up. I had breakfast with her, and she arrived with all the chef de services that, God, I forget their names. Whoever's in charge of the kitchen, charge of the bar, in charge of this, in charge of
Sorry,
that.
what was her job, Lee? Lisa's job? Sorry.
Lisa was a hostess.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
The hostess. And so when I went up to breakfast, she was with all these head honchos. I'm like, and I just noticed her. I mean, it was not to sound cliche, but love at first sight. But she was with all these head honchos. I'm like, I don't have a chance here. And lo and behold, I remember she was. Uh, again, I don't remember time frames, but maybe a month after we were there, or 2 months. I don't remember. She was sitting near the bar, kind of looked sad, reading a letter, and it was like a dear John letter. I think she might have showed it to me. Her boyfriend broke up with her from back home, and I'm like, okay, here we go. It was like a perfect storm. And she would her air conditioner unit broke, just broke. Someone said there was a stick stuck in the middle of it or something in the unit outside. And I have no idea. Wink, wink, wink. No, I just don't know. So
Okay,
anyway,
got
I
it.
worked in the bar, so I would usually get back to my room 2 or 3 in the morning. So I said, go sleep in my room. It's ice cold. I mean, it was just ice cold. So she went to after she finished her hostess duties there at the nightclub, and I had to stay and clean up everything and whatever. The hostess would leave always before everybody else. So I said, go. This is my room number. Go, whatever. And so I finished my job, and I go to my room, and she's in my bed. And I didn't think she was going to go there. And I'm like, what do I do?
You kick her out and say
So,
good night. Just kidding.
so I jumped in my bed, and that was the beginning of everything. And she had a really bad migraine one time, and I took care of her, and it's so organic, and we've
Okay.
been together ever since.
Okay. Well, first, congrats for that. Okay,
Thank
on
you.
your 30 years. Now, were your friends okay? Now, so I went to Playa in 96, 97, and Playa is a very big singles village. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So did any of your friends think you were a complete idiot for getting a girlfriend shortly after you arrived in Playa Blanca? Or maybe it was different back then. I don't know, 1990, 91.
Well, yeah, it was no, you didn't have that much contact when you went to a village. For 6 months, you talked to your buddies back home maybe a few times because there was no internet, no cell
No,
phone.
oh no, I meant the geos in the village. Do they
Oh, the
think you were?
geos.
Yeah, did they think you were crazy for getting a girlfriend
Um,
like immediately upon arrival?
no, it wasn't immediately. I mean, it was like no, they didn't know because it
But
was
but you said this was a love at first sight.
it was a love at first sight for me.
Okay,
To me, I didn't go spreading around the village. I'm in love. I'm in love. But
okay.
it was no, it wasn't shunned upon at all. And actually,
Oh, you were allowed to be in couple?
well, you know how it is.
Oh, just don't make
You
a
be in
don't
couples that
advertise it.
exactly.
Who was your chief then? Do you remember?
Lafise. I forget his last name. Greek.
Okay. Yeah.
Short little Lafise. I had a great relationship with Lafise and his wife Mickey. She ran the boutique, and they knew that Lisa and I were together, and he had a little talk with us. Not in front of the gym. So like, no problem. So that was really that worked out really well there. And there was a funny story when Lisa was doing the welcome speech in the right next to the bar in Playa. There was the little atrium. There was like an outside stage part thing.
Yep.
She would do her little spiel there, and I'm walking from her room with her like three pillows, her teddy bear, and like a bag of her clothes, and she's trying to do this speech while I walk like right past everybody, and she was moving out. She's moving into my room, and she had to stay focused on her speech. And
Okay.
after that, we lived together.
Well, you walked by with all her teddy bears. Okay.
Yeah,
Why do they have so many teddy bears? Okay. Okay.
well, just one teddy bear.
Okay. Oh, just one. Okay. Now,
Oh,
did you like Playa? I loved it. Most geos I speak to love the layout of Playa. So did you like the layout?
yeah, Playa was great. As it forces you to know everybody because the way it's set up, it's not spread out at all. And yeah, I love Playa. I love what I did there. I love all my coworkers except for one. We won't go into that.
Oh no.
Um,
Well, I always liked Playa because I've never seen a better happy hour scenario because the pool is right by the bar, and at 5 o'clock, I know when I was there, they drink cowbells, so everyone went. So I've never seen bigger crowds at happy hour, like more than I did at Playa in 10 years at Club Med, because I thought it was since everything was so small and so centered, it was the perfect spot for happy hour. Would you agree?
I would agree, and also the bar, was a big, huge oval per
That's
se,
right.
so
Yep.
you can walk all the way around the bar and not be like in the Luthra. The bar was right next to the pool and the main restaurant as well, but it was one sided. So
Did
there's
any
a lot of stuff going on. And can I tell a really quick bartender
Yeah,
story?
yeah. I was going to ask you. Yeah, tell your story, and I have another bartender question.
So we were really busy, and I don't know if it was during. We had two groups come in. We had Alcoholics Anonymous come in, and we had Atlantis come in. Atlantis was an organization that started for gay men, where they were able to go on a resort together and not be ridiculed, which is just awful to think about in the first place. Live your life the way you want to live your life. So they came to our club, and we had a great time. And I think it was during that week when we got so busy at the bar. I asked Lisa. I said, Lisa, I need your help. And she's behind the bar. She's flinging out margaritas and pina coladas and virgin congas and all the other drinks and this and that. And she comes up to me, she grabs him, she says, I don't know how to make a drink. And this person's being really adamant about this drink. And I'm like, what is it? She says, this is Johnny Walker Black on the rocks. I'm like, oh my God. I don't know if I know that one either.
Oh no.
I said, let's
Okay.
let's make it together. I mean, I'm ad-libbing a little bit, but basically, as we all know, it's a glass with some ice and Johnny Walker Black.
That's right.
We
Okay.
talk about that all the time.
Did you get
But
slugged? Did you get slugged for that? Okay. Okay.
no, no.
Okay. Well, yeah,
So
I was curious as a bartender, did any GMs come in like at any village and say and like tip you right off the bat, like on their first day and say, so then you knew that, okay, I served this GM first. Did that happen?
there was a couple like that. There was one guy, and I remember his name. I think he was from Canada. His name was Bruce. Came by himself. Nice guy. Wasn't just there to relax and have a good time. And he always drank Bacardi, Añejo, and Coke. I remember it. And so I'd hook him up when he'd come to the bar, like you said. I would have one ready for him. And at the end of when he left on his departure, he gave me a book, and I forget the book. And he said something about chapter 7 is the best in this book. So of course, when he left, immediately opened up chapter 7. There's a $50 bill in there, and
Nice.
it was just nice. And it was nice. But you don't tip when you're in Club Med, that. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
we don't certainly work for tips, and we're just there to make everybody really,
Yeah.
really happy.
Well, the smart ones would leave it for you after they've left at the reception. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because they know. All right. So I see you go to Punta Cana, 91. Does Lisa go with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We had
you're chef of bar and annex restaurant. I
well,
see.
that's it's sort of.
Yeah.
We left when we left Playa Blanca. Pierre, not Pierre Grand, Pierre Gagnon Letier.
Oh, L'Atelier
Yeah,
Gagnon. Yeah. Okay.
he was our chef de village because Lafise had left, go back to the European zone. So we had we left, and Pierre took a lot of his team to Punta Cana, and we came back home, flew to Orange County, Lisa and and then we flew to Maryland. And I left first to Punta Cana, and I didn't have a service yet because there was a chef de bar. Her name was Sarah, not Sarah Abrams, who I did many seasons with and very close friends, but another Sarah was in charge of the bar there, and I was supposed to be chief of bar. And so there was a confusion. So I was there, and then Lisa showed up a few days later, and they had me do annex restaurant. I'm like, food and beverage, no problem. And they brought in, rest in peace, they brought in Nikos to basically do a kind of on-site stage for annex. And he tried to explain to me the fine arts of wine and this and that. I don't drink wine. I'm a beer and rum guy, plain and simple. And I don't like fancy things. I don't like to be served with the cork on the side and the towel over your arm. And he tried to break me, and it was a couple weeks. And he's like, I give up. You're not. And he wasn't mad. He's just like, you're not this guy. You're just not this guy. And they brought someone else in to run the annex, and I helped out, but I didn't do the wine and all that. And so I bounced around Punta Cana between the bar and the annex restaurant, and kind of freelance for a bit, and had a great time because I didn't really have to be anywhere. And the bar got busy, I jumped behind the bar. When the annex restaurant got busy, I would help out in the kitchen. I love to cook, and so that was my job in Punta Cana.
I know you mentioned Terry Drummy and Lafise. Was there anyone else that you enjoyed working with? That you got along great with?
Oh, I got along with everybody except for one. We won't go there.
No, no. Let's shout out the people you did like.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's just so many. There's with back to Luthra doing the changeover season. I met a lot of GOs briefly, and I see pictures of us together on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, I was there with you. But other than my wife, Lisa, you know, Terry was I want to say my go-to guy. We were always there for each other. We did like 4 seasons together, and it was just, if you had to ask me who's your best contact or friend or
Yeah,
whatever, and other than my wife, it's Terry Drummy. Just had great times. And there
and
was another bartender in Yannick Henry from Belgium in Playa Blanca. He now, I think he's part owner, but he's down in Turks, right next to Terry's restaurant, Hemingway's, at the Bay Bistro, Beach Bistro, Bay Bistro. So we go to Turks, we go to see Yannick, and it's great having these contacts all over the place. And Leanne, she now lives in Greece. She bought a house in Greece, and we're going to definitely see her when we go there. And hadn't it been for Club Med, I wouldn't have had these. As we all know, I'm not the oddball here. We all know the relationships and people we met through our seasons. It's just you can't get that anywhere else, and it's fantastic.
okay, let me ask you a current day question, and then I'll go back to Club Med, okay? Because
Yeah.
I mentioned in your intro you're a graduate gemologist, so you can just briefly tell me what that is.
Well, I as a kid, I always liked to dig in the dirt with a magnet, get out the metal pieces and find rocks and break them apart, and just always loved crystal structures and whatnot. And when I met Lisa, her family happened to be in the jewelry business. from a generation before. Her grandparents started a big pawn shop in right outside of Washington, D.C., and then they moved it to Arlington, Virginia, National Pawnbrokers. And I basically ran that for many, many, many years and was challenged with people bringing in gemstones, diamonds, Rolex watches. And I had to learn very quickly to make sure that what they were bringing in was legit. So I started my schooling with GIA, Gemological Institute of America, got my degree in 1996, became a graduate gemologist, and really shot up the ranks pretty quick as far as my gemology knowledge. It's ever changing world with gems and diamonds and Rolex watches, counterfeits, synthetics. So I'm pretty well respected. Again, not to tap my shoulder, pretty well respected in my area here. I've been doing this for 30 years now in the Maryland area here. Own my own business, and just everybody knows me as the gemologist. And I just still have a love for gems and jewelry for the most part. It's kind of cool because a lot of ex-GOs call me up and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, or I'm going to buy this. What can you tell me about that?" And I'm always willing to share my knowledge with anybody.
How fast can you tell a fake Rolex from a real one? I've heard you can tell just by the weight in your hands. Is that true?
Not anymore.
Oh,
They're identical.
oh,
There's
really?
very slight differences
What
that
do you
you
look?
really have to.
What do you look for in a fake? In a fake?
The overall finish of a Rolex watch. If you take the band off, the finish within the lugs, within the clasp, the way that the pins and screws are put in, stuff like that. If there's any quality control issues, it's just not a Rolex.
Are you still impressed by the replicas? Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
now that
Well,
they've
yes,
adjusted the
yes,
weight to okay,
yes, and no. I mean, if
okay,
somebody can make something like this, somebody else can make something like this as well.
yeah,
So it's just, there's more fake luxury watches out in the street and market than there is real ones.
sure, yeah. Yeah, I spent some time at Club Meds in Turkey, so yeah, I have my fair share.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's get back to Club Med if that's okay.
Yeah.
What are the what are the three things you miss the most about Club Med looking back?
In no particular order, the atmosphere of the villages, the GMs and the GOs rather, and the meeting and the GMs as well. Meeting, people from all over the world is just you can't get that anywhere else. But the overall vibe of I just want to back up 1 second here.
Sure, sure.
I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, what's your best village and your worst village, and
Hmm.
the team was great. I guess I was fortunate to have a fantastic team every one of my seasons. Everybody was great. There was not one team that was better than another one because everybody was in my situation. Every team was great. So I miss that. I miss that. It's just something you can't get anywhere else. So the three things: the villages, the GOs and the GMs. That's what I miss.
Are you still fixing Lisa's AC, or she's got that under control now? Okay.
Well, now that we've been married for just about 30 years next
Okay,
month,
she doesn't have to break
I'm,
anything anymore, right? Okay.
I'm fixing our AC, not hers.
That's right.
And
That's a
get that
key
straight.
word. All
So,
right. You want to try some rapid fire questions?
sure.
You have a favorite crazy sign at all, or like, or a song that you hear now and you're automatically like, whoop, brings you right back?
Hands up. I mean, that's got to be
Okay.
the number one. What puts me right back in the village.
Did you ever like have a favorite animation passage that you saw an animator do that you remembered? Like, hey, that's hilarious. In any of your seasons?
It's so much of them. I mean, I guess the water skiing one with the big bucket of water and
Oh yeah,
the ping pong ball with the egg at
the
the
bar
end,
game. Okay.
and the one with the plates with the marking on the back.
Oh yeah, the black like the cork. They would take the
Yeah,
cork and then
exactly. Yeah,
light it.
all those are just
Okay.
hilarious. I tell those stories sometimes, and people crack up that you used to do that. And I said, yeah, it was just funny to watch.
Did you meet any celebrities your whole time there? Any resort?
I met Arthur Ashe in Eleuthera.
Okay.
I don't know if he was sick at the time. I don't know if he was with his wife or he was very quiet and he sat by the pool and just, I don't know if he played tennis there or not. I don't, I went up to introduce myself and just, we had a quick, 5-minute conversation. I met when we went to Playa Rosa from Playa Blanca. We took kayaks over to the Playa Rosa beach, which is around the corner. And as we launched our kayaks on the beach there, Billy Joel was there with Christy. Was it Christy Brinkley who was married to back in the?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
they were
model.
they
Yeah.
were on they were on the beach with their daughter at the time.
Oh, nice.
Other than that, no other celebrities other than my geos I worked with. They're all celebrities.
That's right. Yeah, some of them actually, yeah, became legends too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, did you when you arrived, like, did you have any what I call Club Med culture shock since you were from California and went to St. Lucia and you were with a lot of Europeans? Was there any kind of a Club Med culture shock that you?
Oh, definitely in St. Lucia. When I was, say the whole team was French. 90% of the GOs were French and the GMs were French. It was the time of their vacation. So I felt very culture shock. I mean, the women topless by the pool. That was like something I've never seen before. And that's what was cool about Club Med, learning all these different cultures. I learned how, I'm not speaking about just French, but Europeans per se, you know, before dinner they go to the bar and they have their Ricard and their Pernod and their aperitifs and all, that was like, we don't do that in the United States. So different cultures. It wasn't a shock, but different cultures was really cool to learn about.
Yeah, and since your last season was in Punta Cana 91, I'm assuming you and Lisa knew it was time to leave, and I think you mentioned so Club Med literally changed your life, right?
Yeah, it did. I wouldn't be where I'm at because I wouldn't have met my wife, and I wouldn't have learned all the things. But we were in Punta, and I didn't really have a service. And I guess I talked to Pierre, and I said, I'm just not happy. I'm not, I don't know where we're gonna go next season. I don't have a service here. I've been with Club Med a long time. I need to, work up the ranks or whatever. And then Lisa and I talked, and we just said that's, we were totally in love and knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. And we said, what are we doing here? We gotta, unless we're gonna do Club Med for the rest of our lives, let's move on. And we left. I remember we left Punta. It was like I think the 16th of July. It was right after Bastille Day. We stayed and helped out, and that was it.
All right. Well, you still get to go back on vacation if you want, right?
Oh yeah, I do some of the reunions and stuff like that. It's always fun.
What was your last reunion, or
The
when I
last
should say?
reunion I think it was well, the best one was in 2018 in Cancun. It was a
Okay.
great group of ex-GOs. We had a great time. But then we went to Turks, I guess in 2020. I don't remember. We actually got duped a little bit because our flight got we had a semi-emergency landing in Fort Lauderdale. We were losing cabin pressure and nothing was wrong. We weren't going to crash or anything like that. But so we had to stay in Fort Lauderdale for a day, and the next flight wasn't out till the next later that day. So there was like 2 days short. And I got sick when I got to Turks. I just not from drinking, just a bug. And I was like next day I was in my room the whole day and but I got to see all my friends and stuff like that. So that was our last reunion we went to.
Nice. All right, Lee. Now, before I let you go, because you've been so kind with your time, am I forgetting to ask you anything? I know we cover a lot. There's something you wanted to say before we say our goodbyes?
If you have, I have plenty of time, so I don't know about you, but
No.
there's one story I like. It's just a short story. I like
Okay.
to tell
Yeah,
about
yeah.
my.
Let's close it off with one story.
Okay. So I arrived at Playa before everybody else did, and we were waiting to get our supplies in for the bar, and the GMs were coming like in a couple days, and we didn't have any margarita mix. We had alcohol, but we didn't have any of the necessities to make these cocktails. So leave it to, I don't know, you were there in 97, you said?
Yeah, 96, 97.
I don't know if the same barbacks were there. There was Marciano, his name was Chano,
Chano,
short guy, big handlebar mustache.
El Jefe, no problemo. Okay.
Excellent guy. The whole
Yeah.
team, everybody there was great. But anyway, Chano tells me, "Come on, let's go." So we go outside the village with some potato sacks, and we came across this like not open field, this field of trees, and they were lime trees. And Chano gets on my shoulders. Thank God I'm big and he's small. He's on my shoulders. I'm holding the gunny sack, potato sack, and he's picking limes. And we picked a whole potato sack full of limes and like another half a bag of 3/4 of a bag of limes, or maybe a half bag, whatever. And so I grabbed the big bag, and it was like maybe a mile or two out of the village. I grabbed the big bag, and Chana's like, no, 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 Hefe, no, 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 no. He was just, it was a mutual respect from the get go with this guy. He grabbed the big bag, put him on his shoulders. I grabbed the little bag, and we got back to the village. Hour later, we had like, I had to be 10 gallons of fresh lime juice, and we made the best margaritas for these first GMs that showed up. And we got in trouble because we ran out of them pretty quickly, and our supplies came in. So midweek we had this other margarita mix that came in a carton. We put it in the machines and all that, and the GMs were complaining, no, 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 no. We went to margaritas that we got when we first got here. So we kept a little bit of these fresh lime juice and made these margaritas for the GMs. But it was his respect for me right away. I don't think he would have done this for anybody else. And I would go to the kitchen in the morning and get fresh everybody's favorite chocolate croissants. I'd get croissants and stuff like that and bring it to the bar, open up the bar for them, and they would have their little breakfast, and just respect. And I just want to tell that story about how Chano really went out for me on a limb, basically, to help me and to help the village as well.
Nice. A great story.
That's people that I think not too many, but sometimes the XGOs and GOs tend to forget that their team behind them, the PS, the locals that just really keep the club going. And I want to give a shout out to all of them because they're fantastic and they made us the way we are.
Agreed.
So
yeah, agreed.
Good stuff there.
Thank you for that, Lee.
Sure.
Well, everyone, that was the amazing Lee Siegel. And once again, please, Lee, I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was great to reminisce again. And, it's always in my mind of Club Med. Every day is something that reminds me, but having this, and I'm very excited to be able to share this interview, hopefully with a lot of my friends that never got to Club Med, and they can kind of live the life through my interview of what it was like. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Lee. And we'll see you all next week. Bye. Say bye, Lee.
Take care.